So today what we're going to be doing is running through VY, which is a new AI super agent. Now, this basically allows you to control the interface for your Mac. So basically, it can interact with apps on your desktop. It is completely free from what I see so far. And basically, it's like, if you were just clicking buttons on your laptop trying to open stuff up, etc., then instead, what you can actually do is get Vi to do this. Now, the difference between a human and Vi is that Vi actually understands how to use apps more than most people, right? So, for example, if it's an app you've never used before, you have no idea how to use that app, right? But VY is programmed so that it can actually open up apps that you've never used before, that you don't understand, right? And that's the big difference here. Is like it's kind of AGI level because essentially what it can do is it can interact with things that most humans don't know how to, right? Especially if someone's not that, for example, techie or something like that. So we're going to get straight into using this. If you want to download it, the way that you can get access is via Vercept.com, VERCEPT.com. It's available for Mac, so you can download it for Mac, as you can see right here. And we've also got a full SOP inside the AI Profit Boardroom, so make sure you get that link in the comments description. And essentially, what we can do from here, it's just been launched, brand new by the way, just came out like a few days ago. And essentially, once you've set it up, you're just going to go to VY, like you can see at the bottom here. And the one caveat that I'm going to say to all of this is it's not very good at using Google Chrome. So don't use it as something to start messing around on Google Chrome with. The way that you want to be using this is on actual apps inside your Mac or your laptop or whatever, right? So, for example, let's just do a very basic test run. If we say, and I'm just going to shut down Descript over here. If we say, for example, okay, go to Descript, and I'm just going to take a prompt from the AI Profit Boardroom. Let's see what we can do. Go open Descript, write a new script for me, and generate the audio for it, right? So we're going to do that. Open up a new project. And you can see with Asset to work its magic. Now, I'm not touching my mouse or anything like that. You can actually see what it's doing step by step here. I don't seem to be able to zoom in on this, so I can't make it any bigger for you, I'm afraid. But essentially, you can see over here, it's opened up Descript now. And it's creating a new project. It's gone back to Descript. It's opening up the application. And then it said, let's start by clicking on the Create with AI Speaker section. And basically what it's going to do is start using the app for us, right? Let's see if this actually works. Now it's selecting the AI speech option. And it should be typing in a short script in a minute. Let's see what we get. Alex says, is this better than Scout? So it's very different to Scout because it's more for like using applications on your laptop, whereas, for example, Scout is more like in its own virtual environment, if that makes sense. Samarth says, is it only available for iOS? That's right. So right now it's only available for Mac. And Crypto Mark says, which AI agent is this? This is using something called VY, Vercept. Full recipe inside the AI Profit Boardroom if you want the setup instructions for this and the full recipe. But essentially you can see how it works step by step. let's try something a bit simpler. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say, open up ChatGPT, have a conversation about how AI could take over the world with autonomous AI super agents. So we'll go back to VY here. We'll select that. Hit enter like so. And it's opened up ChatGPT, as you can see. Now it's gone to the conversation section. And it's writing inside the conversation section. So it says, let's have a discussion about how AI could potentially take over the world. Technical requirements, blah, blah, blah. Let me X off that. And it's actually having a conversation directly with AI, right? So it can conversate and it can instruct ChatGPT directly by opening up the app and then going inside the chat box and just typing in prompts, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. So now you can connect AIs to different AIs. Obviously, using this sort of program, you got to be careful, right? So you don't want to install this on like a local computer where you have private documents stored. You have to be careful about the security impact here. Obviously, be careful with your data. Like it could be dangerous if it got in the wrong hands or if you went down the wrong route. But you can see how powerful this is and how easy this is to start going back and forth with, for example, ChatGPT or that sort of thing. And then it's going back and forth and actually typing inside the prompt section here to ask more questions, right? To take it another level. So essentially what you can do is you can get this AI to take over your laptop. It is very impressive. The one thing, like I said before, is that you wouldn't use it on Google Chrome. Not very good on Google Chrome when I tested it yesterday. But for actually using applications directly in the chat here, it's pretty crazy. I mean, for example, it's now generating images using this process. And the way that it works is it figures out the steps that it needs to do, opens up the app, and then it just captures a screen, right? So it's taking a screenshot every time, probably using something like Claude Computer Use to do this, and then it can just generate stuff. Like, for example, it's generating now this image about super agents, AI super agents, taking over the world. Crazy stuff. And it also seems to be able to figure out, okay, if it needs to wait or not. So you can see here it says, I can see the ChatGPT is still generating the flowchart and adding details. Let's wait a bit longer for the complete response. So if you want to have I mean, this could be really powerful because, for example, anything that you're automating with ChatGPT, VY could probably do it better because it can instruct ChatGPT on exactly how to operate and what to do next, etc. And usually, AIs, because they understand other LLMs and they understand how to communicate with other LLMs, typically the results you're going to get back are going to be more interesting and more detailed, and it's going to cover things that you probably wouldn't think about as a human when you're going back and forth with the AI. So it's crazy stuff. I'm going to stop it there, but you can see the full process here. So this is the full conversation. It's generated a response there, opened up ChatGPT itself, generated some images, plus some full information on, AI agents and how they could take over the world. And then also in this section here, you can actually watch back the video. So you can play back the video here if you want to see what happened and how it did it, etc. It took 3 minutes 40 to generate that response, which is not that fast, but I can imagine when this is out of beta, then it's going to get even better, right, as we go along. Also, what you can see here is you can actually open up the video file inside the recording. So you can watch back the recording here, view back all the recordings of your files, etc. If you just let this AI agent go off for an hour and then you went off, made a cup of tea and came back, wouldn't recommend it. But if you did that, you could see exactly what happened whilst you were getting the responses and whilst you were not there, right? So you can see the whole screen recording. Pretty crazy stuff. So Let's keep going now. If you want to start a new chat, you can click like this. If you have two different devices, like you see I have two different displays, then you can select between them and just, select which ones you want to use. And also you can see here, you can go back between the different histories and the different chats that you created, right? So let's try another one now. It worked really well with ChatGPT. If we say open up Docs and write and create a, yeah, we'll say open up Numbers and create a website tracker, right? So let's go back into VY here and we'll say, okay, open up Numbers and create an SEO website tracker for my site. And we'll just put the site like juliangolder.com with rankings, keywords, etc. Marsh says if it's not available on Windows, then it's boring. But one thing I would say is, like, for me personally, I haven't used Microsoft for years. It's been a long time since I used Microsoft. I don't know many entrepreneurs still using Microsoft. All right, one thing I'm just going to say inside here, we're just going to stop that. And I'm going to go back up here and say, open up the Numbers app. Because if for some reason it opened up the folder, which is not what we want, right? I'm going to cancel that. So it's going to create a blank template website, blank template spreadsheet. Now it's clicking on create. Heavy T says, partner with me, I have too many contracts. Trying to hire, I can't find anyone. Yeah, if you want to, I mean, what we can do is we can white label for you, right? So we work with a lot of clients doing AI automation for them. If you want some help on that, we've got a link in the comments and description to book in a call about that. Feel free to book in a call and we can help you white label your projects. So we have a team that can help you with AI automation. We already work with a lot of clients. And the way that works is, like, if you've got too many contracts, you basically get us to do the work. You take a profit in between and we do all the work for you. To be fair, with this one, it's totally failing, right? So I'm not going to be SEO and tell you it's amazing if it's not. So far from what I can see, it's really struggling with numbers on the spreadsheet, right? So it doesn't seem to be able to like operate numbers to create new spreadsheets, trackers, etc. It has created a new page now, but let's see how long that takes and whether it can actually do its magic. Marshall Live says, I do agree. I share with you guys one thing. How addictive AI tools are, especially if you feel unstoppable in terms of ideas. I would agree with that. It's like the amount of possibilities just increase every single day and it becomes more and more inspiring. By the way, if you're watching this video back and you want to jump on live calls, feel free to join the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description to get on live calls about AI. Yeah, it seems, I'm going to stop it there because it seems really bad at operating numbers from what I've seen so far. So let's try a new chat now. It totally failed at numbers. It did really well inside ChatGPT. It managed to operate Descript as well. Let's try another one now. So you can say, open up pages and write the best possible SEO optimized article you can about SEO training. Let's see if it can do that. And Marsh says, I struggle to find people to talk to about AI. That's why you should join the AI Profit Boardroom. Comes with 630 members all interested in AI, right? So if you want to learn this stuff, if you want to find more about it, etc., then just join the AI Profit Boardroom. Comes with weekly Q&A calls, comes with an amazing community. That's the best place you can learn about this stuff. All right, he's terrible, absolutely terrible at using numbers as well. It's totally failed with that. I couldn't even open up a new document. We're going to close that. I'm just going to close numbers at the bottom here. Now we're going to say, okay, open up Sketch and draw a diagram for me. So it's open up Sketch fairly easily. Link in the comments and description to the AI profit bordering, by the way. So let's see if we can actually get it to type inside pages here. And there we go, look at that. So it's actually written a full article in Markdown for the content that we wanted, which is pretty crazy. And that should be neatly marked up as well. And then it's clicking to save it here. I'm just going to hit save on that. And we'll stop that task. That is actually pretty impressive, to be fair. So let's open that up. We'll do it on Markdown Live Preview, and we'll just see how that performs. So this is the article that it created inside Pages. It's created like neatly. I mean, the content itself is not great, to be honest with you, but it's not bad at all. I mean, how long is that article? 929 words. It wrote it in Pages, saved the whole document, formatted it neatly, and wrote exactly on the topic that we wanted to, right? That was pretty crazy. It only took 1 minute 18 to actually get that task completed, which is crazy stuff. Let's try this as well. So maybe the best way to do it is not to actually get it to open the application. You open the application yourself, you create a blank document, and then it can go off and do its magic. So, for example, let's start a new chat here, and we'll say, right, journal a day in the life of an AI super agent. So it's now right in the title, A Day in the Life of an AI Super Agent. And now we can see what it's thinking. So let's see what we get back here. I do like the fact that you don't need any coding skills to install this, right? Or any sort of techie setup. So you're not using terminal or anything like that. You're literally just telling the AI what you want, downloading a quick problem, and then you can see here that actually comes back to you with what it's doing. So it says 5:30 a.m. activation sequence. My processing calls word to life as my scheduled activation sequence initiated. And then it's breaking down exactly what it did on Monday, May the 5th. Pretty crazy. Again, I'm not touching the screen or doing anything, involved in this. So, very interesting stuff. We'll stop it there. But yeah, I think there's two things there. So, number one, just make sure you do have the application open for stuff like this. Otherwise, it's going to struggle to create new documents and that sort of thing. But once you're actually inside there, you're all good. So far, we've got it to journal, write SEO articles, and have a conversation about life with ChatGPT directly. It's also written a nicely SEO optimized article, as you can see. What else can we do? So now I'm going to say, okay, generate a short podcast script about SEO. Write it inside Descript. Let's see if it can manage that. So we're going to hit enter like so. It's now outlining the podcast script. and it seems to have totally got stuck there. So it should be simple. Like, it is struggling with basic stuff, to be honest with you. If we take, for example, like, all it needs to do is take that content, plug it in there, paste it in, boom, and then click done writing, right? So it doesn't seem to be like 100% ready to take over the world yet. I wouldn't say it is scary in a way, but it's just not ready in terms of, like, being exactly where it should be when it comes to AI super agents. So it's impressive, but it's not like going to take over humans anytime soon. I would give it probably 6 to 12 months minimum before it really starts to do some damage in terms of overtaking humans and that sort of thing. Shout out to Daily Driver for the tip. And Ab says, how much money do you spend on subscriptions in different AI services? Have you been able to settle on a particular IDE? So for me, my favorite IDE is Visual Studio Code. I spend a lot on subscriptions, but I'm not your average person, right? Because literally, for me, like, I have to show these new tools on YouTube every single day, and so, like, of course I'm going to spend more than, like, a normal person on subscriptions and that sort of thing. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get access to all my video notes from today, I'm actually going to shut this down. Feel free to get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. This comes with a full SOP on VY, how to use it, all my video notes, some example prompts, etc. Plus, if you like AI super agents, particularly free ones, then I've got tons of training on that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Additionally, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how to get more free leads, customers, and sales to your business with SEO, feel free to get that link in the comments description. We'll show you how we take websites from 0 to 145,000 business a month and generate hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales on autopilot. So on that free call, you will get a free custom tailored game plan to your business. You'll be able to ask any questions you have about ranking inside Google or other AI search engines. And additionally, you'll just learn how to grow your business even if you don't become a client. So feel free to book that in, link in the comments description. Appreciate you watching. So we're going to cover another AI agent in a second. Bear with me, peeps. So today we're going to be talking about Deep Agent, which has a brand new update. So essentially this comes from Abacus AI, and they've said they've released some new features for Deep Agent, including PowerPoints with images and charts, goal GCal integration, and database apps. All right, so we're going to be testing out and seeing how it performs today versus Manus and also GenSpark in terms of the outputs. Now, if you want access to this, it costs about $20 a month. So it's actually pretty affordable when you think about it. It's a lot cheaper than, for example, something like Manus. And essentially what it is a deep agent. So it's like a super agent that can just go off on the web and do whatever you want, right? Now, if you want access to it, you go to apps.abacus.ai. And then from here, you're going to select the deep agent option in the bottom left that says use our God tier AI agent to automate anything, right? Once you've clicked on that, you're going to see something like this. It does have a bunch of sample tasks. So you can see some examples right here in terms of how it works. So for example, like someone has built a game in this example for Sudoku. If we open that up, we can skip through the records and see exactly what it looks like, right? So this is the output from it. Now, I've already run a few examples on it earlier today because it does take quite a long time to generate the outputs, all right? So if you want to have a look at some examples of what I built with it, let's test it out. For example, this one was research the topic deep agent by Abacus and everything we need to learn about this. Give me all the useful, interesting information you can about this topic. What do people know about it? Blah, blah, blah. And then I've said, like, turn it into a beautiful, sleek, and modern presentation. Simplify the language so it's easy to understand, but still covers all the technical stuff so it's useful. Right? And if we actually scroll down, what it did is it went off and just asked me a bunch of questions before it completed the task. Now, that is one of the issues that I'm finding with Deep Agent. It's like, quite often, it's not that autonomous because it does go back and forth with you a lot on the questions, which is quite different to something like GenSpark. So, for example, if we actually run exactly the same prompt inside GenSpark, which is a competing tool, and we can take exactly the same prompt like so, go into GenSpark, and we can go into the homepage here and say exactly the same thing. So research topic deep agent, blah, blah, blah. We can hit enter and then go off and do that. Now, one of the other things you're going to notice here as well is when you start a new chat, you can attach and you can hit send here. But if you have a look inside GenSpark, what you actually see is this research for me option and also the option to speak into the microphone here. So you can actually do like, inputs through your microphone and then just speak to it if you want to directly. Now, if we actually hit enter here, we'll see what the outputs are like compared side by side. So let's go back to the presentation we generated with the Deep Agent. Now, one of the other things as well that you're going to see inside Deep Agent when you do an example task like this one is it's going to go off, it's going to search the web. So you can see here it can actually search the web, Google stuff for you. It has web access, etc. You can actually click on that and see what it did. So it looked at, for example, deepagent.abacus.ai. And then if we keep scrolling down here, it gives you the output. So it's actually created the report right here. However, when we keep scrolling down, it says, I've gathered all the information, here's what I've done, etc. Here's all the information about it. Would you like me to proceed with creating a slide preview based on this research? Now, here's one of the biggest differences I noticed between Deep Agent and GenSpark, right? So for example, if you have a look at GenSpark, when you're doing the research, it's very autonomous. Like it makes decisions for you and it doesn't go back and forth, which I find tends to save a lot more time. So for example, in this particular example, we gave it the prompt and it just one-shotted the whole presentation. So it's creating the presentation now. You can see it's coding out each page side by side, and it's super fast when it's doing responses on GenSpark compared to Deep Agent. I think Deep Agent is getting a lot better, but it's just not right. It's not quite there in terms of being autonomous right now from what I can see as well. Now, if we scroll down as well, it gathered the images for the presentation, blah, 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 did all that. And if we keep scrolling down, it then created the report. Now, if we compare side by side the presentation style of Abacus versus GenSpark, so this is the presentation from Abacus, this is the presentation from GenSpark, there's quite a big difference in terms of the quality of design, right? So this is page 1 of the report from Deep Agent, and you can see like the design is a little bit messy, it doesn't quite make sense, etc. It's got like all this weird graphics along. If we click to the next stage, the presentation style is very, very basic. Whereas if you look at the presentation style from GenSpark, It's nicely designed, it's neatly formatted, it looks quite professional. Like, you could bring that into a meeting or cover that on a YouTube video straight away, and you'd probably be 80% of the way there, right? You're pretty much good to go. So for me personally, if I had to say like who wins in this situation, I'm gonna go with GenSpark. Now I know that Deep Agent is relatively new, and it is improving all the time. But honestly, if you want my honest opinion, then I'm gonna go with GenSpark for now. Now let's run the same thing inside Manus, because that's another alternative that a lot of people like to use. And by the way, if you want a free version of all of this, I would recommend Scout. I've actually got a full recipe and step-by-step instructions inside the AI Profit Boardroom. You can get it inside this section right here. And it shows you exactly how to use Scout step-by-step, how to get access, and a video tutorial running you through exactly how to use it. So if we go back to Manus now, we'll run similar sort of process, similar sort of prompt, right? So I've pasted that in there, we'll hit enter. I'm going to upgrade for you. And the pricing is quite different with Manus, by the way. Manus is $42 per month. Whereas, for example, Abacus is half that price, right? So it is quite a big difference in terms of the pricing and everything else. You can also see here that the preview doesn't last long. So in this example, it has to rerun the development URL to preview that application again. Right? So if we go back to the presentation that we generated earlier, let's find that. And we'll run exactly the same prompt inside Manus here, which you can see. So we're going to run that prompt inside Manus. And we'll see how this performs. Now, from my experience, I still prefer GenSpark. I just think it's very, very realistic in terms of what you want, you know, getting that autonomousness, if that's a real word. Actually creating something that can just go off on the web and do stuff for you, right? Whereas, for example, if you look at Manus, it's a little bit slower, right? And obviously, with GenSpark, it's not quite as powerful. So let's go back and we'll compare the outputs here side by side. Now, I also noticed with Manus, this doesn't ask you any questions either. So it just goes off, it does the research for you. You don't have to go back and forth with it, which is pretty cool because then, you know, you can type in a prompt, go off, make a cup of coffee, come back, the research is done. Boom, right? That's exactly what you want. Whereas, for example, with Abacus, it will ask you a lot more questions and it will require a lot more back and forth, which takes more time, right? So we'll come back to this in a second. Once this is finished, it's now working on the process, so I'll put that in the background here and we'll leave that running. And the next thing that I want to show you is another workflow with Deep Agent that I tested, right? So if we open up this one, this was using a website. So what I actually did was I asked Abacus to just go off and create a website for me, right? Again, we'll have to restart the deployment URL right now, so the dev URL. But essentially the prompt was research Julian Goldie and create a beautiful modern SEO agency website for his agency, Goldie Agency. Make it modern, sleek, super customized, include lots of content about him, embed some of his videos, etc. Right? So we're looking for like a really beautiful sort of website that we can create with a Deep Agent, and then it can just go off and do its magic. Now, we'll just wait for that to load. So that's creating the example right here. If you want to see what Manus previously did using the same sort of process, check out some of the examples inside the AI Profit Boardroom here. And you can see the website example, right? So this is the website example from Manus. And it created like quite a nice website. It's a little bit generic in terms of its outputs. And I would definitely say like GenSpark created something much better. So if you want to see what GenSpark created, let me show you some examples right here. So this is the example website from GenSpark. I mean, it's pretty nice. Like the image is a little bit pixelated, but we could give it a better quality image. However, the design, the style of it, etc., is pretty cool. It does link to our funnels as well. It's taken even like the examples of companies we've worked with before. It's included like our link building packages, content, etc. Everything is super customized to us. It's even included like some PR that we had and some nice case studies, right? I would say that's probably the best design that I've seen so far. So it's even included like testimonials from our website, and it did all of that research by itself using exactly the same, well, very similar prompts to what we gave Abacus. Now, if we have a look at Manus, Manus was a lot more generic. I would say that's probably the second best option that we had. And then if we have a look at the example from Abacus, this was not quite as good, right? So for example, let's hit deploy on this. We'll test. We'll create a test website here. So we'll deploy this on a test domain. We'll open this up. And that's a website that we got back from Abacus. Now, you can see a huge difference in the design quality here. I would say that Manus beats it. And if you compare like side by side, the quality of this page, like it's quite short. It doesn't have much information about us. This image is from a YouTube video that I did like 3 years ago, maybe longer ago. I do like the fact that it's created some nice quick pages that work really well. But these are all made up pages as well. These are not real case studies that we actually did. And if we click on the links on the SEO Elite Circle plus SEO Boardroom links, they don't work on this test website, right? Whereas, for example, if we go to Manus here, this is GenSpark. You can see that GenSpark's output was much better. It even included like pictures of my team, like you can see. So the outputs and the quality and the design, the UI, everything else is much better when it comes to GenSpark. I would say Manus also does a decent job, but not as good as GenSpark. And then, Deep Agent is probably coming in last. All right. I'm sure it will improve again in the future, but it's just not the right tool for us at the minute, I would say personally. Forstin Mayer says, loving the live demo. Julian, thanks for breaking it down for us. Can't wait to try the workflows you're showing off. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. All right, so we've covered presentation examples, and we've covered, for example, building out websites as well. And I would say GenSpark is still the beast. It's a go when it comes to AI agents. This is an example of an AI growth calculator I actually created using Deep Agent, and I would say this is probably the best output that I got. So I think for building apps, it's actually not bad at all. Like this app itself, let's just test it works. Yeah, so you can see that works beautifully. It's quite a nice app. And the other cool thing that you can do inside here that I don't think you can do inside other places is you can actually select a custom domain, right? So if you go inside the manage domain section here, you can add a custom domain. You can put whatever you want, and then you can create like a custom domain for whatever outputs you want and just host it on a website, right? So for example, this was a tool that I created with Visual Studio Code, and it's hosted at free AI tool for creating thumbnails.com, right? And so you can do the same thing, but you don't need to go to Netlify and upload the website and all that sort of rubbish. You can go inside Deep Agent, deploy the website on a custom domain, and that seems to be way easier than anything else I've seen. So I would say it's winning in that respect. Like, it's really cool. If we go inside, let's have a look here. if we go inside GenSpark, for example, and we open up this example, we don't seem to be able to deploy that to a custom domain, right, inside GenSpark. So I would say, Deep Agent is definitely winning in that respect. Now, if we go back to Manus and that presentation we were generating earlier, you can see how long this is taking, right? So it's still designing the presentation. And I would say in that respect, like, GenSpark is way faster than any of the other agents I've seen. You can see how quickly it generated that presentation, gives you the live preview, it looks really nicely designed, etc. And that seems to be like a lot better when it comes to this, right? Whereas, for example, Manus, it hasn't shown us any sort of preview. It still seems to be struggling. It's going to take a while. It might take like anywhere between 30 to 40 minutes to generate that, potentially. And also, the design of Deep Agent is just not as good as GenSpark. Now, if you want to see an example of a similar calculator and what we got back from GenSpark versus Abacus, so here's an example from Abacus of the AI automation calculator, the AI growth calculator. We can actually open up the dev URL here, so we can open up the static website. And this is what we got back from GenSpark. All right. Now, if we compare these side by side, I would still say that in terms of UI, the UI of GenSpark is much better versus Deep Agent. So you can see, for example, this is a page from Deep Agent. It's still quite basic. These testimonials are completely hallucinated as well. And then also the links to the AI Profit Boardroom or the SEO link building, etc., they don't work on this page. Also, the calculator here is a lot more complex and looks a lot more interesting. And if we scroll down the page, it's got some nice images of me. It's got links to my social media. It's got some videos embedded here too. The testimonials are not made up. They're actually not hallucinated at all. And then it's got some nice FAQs at the bottom, plus a CTA to book in a free SEO strategy session, which actually works, right? And so there's a huge difference between what we get back from Abacus versus what we get back from GenSpark using very similar prompts. And so if it was a choice, I'm going to stick with GenSpark for now. I think it's winning on all of the example tasks that we did. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get examples of all the stuff we built with these AI super agents, you can see some examples inside the AI Profit Boardroom. I mean, it is amazing what you can do with this stuff. Like, let me show you some examples of what you can build here. Right? So, for example, this was Julian Goldie's insane SEO adventure. If we click on this, we can actually build out like games that are built with 3JS. You know, you're collecting like SEO themes related stuff, building backlinks, etc., avoiding core updates inside the game. It's pretty cool. Here's another example. So I actually created an SEO content generator. This is all with GenSpark, by the way. You just plug in your Gemini API key here, plug in your keyword, plug in the outline for the content, and then hit generate SEO content, and it starts doing its magic. Here's another example. So this was the personal branding website that I built previously. All the prompts for this stuff, by the way, are inside the AI Profit Boardroom. And we did actually build an AI growth calculator, very similar to the one from Deep Agent. So you can see, for example, you calculate your AI growth results, and then it has a CTA to book in a free AI strategy session at the bottom with personalized stuff and information about me, including the image, link to social media platforms, etc. Top of that, we have this training mastery quiz. This is actually for my team, just to train like new trainees on, you know, what SEO link building is, how it works, etc., and to test their knowledge. And then this was another game. So this was a keyword runner game. It's kind of like a simplified Space Invaders, but it's SEO themed. Then I also, this is a really cool one. Like if you want to, you know, expand to different countries, but you can't write the content yourself, then what you can actually build here, this is a completely translated version of our existing website, right? So it translated our existing website, juliangoldie.com, into French, and then built out the whole website with all the nice pictures and information about us, pictures of our team, etc. Pretty cool. On top of that, we created this game. This is another 3D runner game that was really cool. It did take about an hour to build this out, to be fair. Just going to be 100% transparent with you. But if you're into building your own games, then this is an easy one to do, right? And it looks really cool. So you can see here we have to dodge like SEO penalties and stuff like that. We can jump up and down here, like so. And then it gives you an SEO performance report on how you performed, which is pretty amazing. And then the final thing we did was we built out, every time I do research, quite often for YouTube videos and stuff like that, I'll ask GenSpark to just go off, research a topic, and either create a nice presentation or a really nice landing page like you can see right here, where you talk everyone through all the information. I actually created a video using this presentation and it performed pretty well. So for me, I'm going to say GenSpark is absolutely nailing it in the AI agent world, followed by Manus, and then Deep Agent is catching up. They're releasing new upgrades. I just don't think it's, you know, at the same level as GenSpark right now. And a lot of people have been asking me about this stuff, so that's why I'm doing a video on it. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to get all my SOPs, courses, training, templates, agents, automations, workflows, and if you want live call recordings as well, so if you want to jump on live calls and ask any questions you have, plus meet a bunch of people in the AI space, you can see we have 630 members here, all focused on making more money and saving time with AI. So feel free to join the AI Profit Boardroom. It comes with a 14-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, you can get your money back anyway. There's absolutely no risk here, so feel free to join that. Link is in the comments description to sign up. And additionally, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session with a custom-tailored game plan on exactly how to get more leads, more traffic, more sales from Google and other AI search engines, feel free to book in a free SEO strategy session, and we'll basically build out a custom-tailored game plan personalized to your website completely for free. And to be honest with you, a lot of the people who sign up for the call actually become clients of ours because we help them so much on the call. So feel free to book that in. Link in the comments description to get your free SEO strategy session. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye. Where does fucking time go, mate?